This Talking with My Hans future presentation is brought to you by the official Talking with My Hans Teespring storefront, by subscribing to the channel and liking this video, and from viewers like you. Thank you. So, you want to get into Star Wars and you don't know anything about it? The first thing you should know is that you're not alone. There are plenty of people who have never seen a Star Wars movie in their life. If everybody had seen it, then this program wouldn't have been made. Don't worry, we'll go slow and start with the basics. It's a big galaxy out there, and it can get overwhelming fast, so feel free to pause your VHS player and rewind if you have to. Once you have the basics down, take yourself movie by movie. Don't feel the need to rush through. They're all wonderful adventures, and watching for your first time is an experience that should be cherished. Before you know it, you'll know the difference between the Death Star and Din Djarin, and you'll be telling your friends that they need to watch Star Wars too. Everyone knows Star Wars and its iconic imagery, lightsabers, robots,
I am C-3PO human-cyborg relations.
white armored stormtroopers, and that unmistakable breathing. But what is it about? Is it about space? Is it about those big furry things? No, really, Star Wars is about people who are caught in a massive conflict between good and evil. Some of those people turn into galactic heroes, while some go on to be evil villains, and some meddle in the middle. On one side of the galactic fight against good and evil, there are the freedom fighters of the Rebel Alliance and sorcerer knights called Jedi. Over the course of the films, they battle the tyrannical Empire, Sith Lords, and much more. At the center of it all is the original hero, Luke Skywalker, but you'll discover many more characters to root for. Star Wars started out as a singular movie in 1977, but has continued all the way up until today, with 8 more saga films coming after the original. Today, Star Wars is so much more than movies. It's the umbrella term for a whole franchise of books, comics, television shows, spin-off movies, and much more that all contribute to the same overarching story. It's loved by millions of fans all over the world and of all ages. A young filmmaker named George Lucas was already a hit star in the 1970s thanks to his newest motion picture at the time, American Graffiti.
Grab that special one and jump into your candy-colored custom or your screaming machine, cruise downtown and catch American Graffiti.
American Graffiti? Baby, what's that?
With such success, George began to map out more eccentric story ideas, like one for a sprawling space opera that would eventually become Star Wars.
Star Wars, 1 billion years in the making, and it's coming to your galaxy this summer.
Lucas was inspired by all different work from his childhood in California, 2 of the biggest being the Flash Gordon series and Akira Kurosawa's The Hidden Fortress. However, one of his biggest influences was Joseph Campbell's book, The Hero with 1,000 Faces, which helped George write Luke Skywalker's entire story. George wrote the next 2 stories after Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, then continued to both write and direct the prequel trilogy, starting in 1999. In 2012, George retired from full-time movie making and handed the franchise off to Disney and Kathleen Kennedy, who hired J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson to direct the final 3 films of the saga. Even after 40-plus years of more and more Star Wars, audiences still can't get enough. But why? In 1977, when the original Star Wars hit the theater, it struck a chord with audiences around the world. The general feeling in the movies of the 60s and 70s was doom and gloom. The art of the time reflected the largely unpopular Vietnam War and the Watergate scandal. Luke Skywalker's heroic adventures was a breath of fresh air, and the special effects were things that had never been seen before. At its very core, Star Wars is a simple tale of good versus evil, and characters learning about themselves in extraordinary ways. It's a story that's been told 1,000 times and will never go away. But what makes Star Wars extra special is that it takes place in its own massive universe that can spawn all different kinds of stories, and that can take place in a novel, or a comic, or even in their own spin-off movie.
Everything you've heard about me is true.
A couple of overlooked parts of why Star Wars is so loved are the fantastic musical scores and the record-breaking merchandise line. Star Wars was the first movie that really capitalized on the use of action figures and t-shirts to help bolster the movie. George Lucas was a pioneer in that aspect, and that's still something that helps keep Star Wars alive today. In addition, the musical score composed by John Williams is one of the greatest and most recognizable scores of all time. How does every Star Wars movie start with a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, but everyone's flying around in space? Well, consider this. Star Wars is set in a galaxy different than our own, with people and technology far more advanced. It's never specified just how long ago it was that this story takes place. Really, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away indicates that this story is more of a fantasy than a science fiction. The Star Wars galaxy has a rich history that the characters talk about often in each of the movies.
I was once a Jedi Knight, the same as your father.
The Planetary Union, the Galactic Republic, existed for over 1,000 generations, where the Jedi were the keepers of the peace. The wealthy planets in the core worlds are richly populated. The Outer Rim is a hub of lawlessness.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
And the unknown regions harbor many mysteries. As of 2019, the original Star Wars saga that started in 1977 with A New Hope officially ended with The Rise of Skywalker. There are a total of 9 movies in what today we call the Skywalker saga. There are also 2 standalone spin-off movies that aren't a part of the Skywalker saga timeline, but take place in the Star Wars universe, Rogue One and Solo. So what exactly makes a film a part of the Skywalker saga? In the first Star Wars, we got introduced to Luke Skywalker, and each episode thereafter featured him or a member of the Skywalker family. Any movie about the Skywalker family is obviously a part of the main saga, and you can tell which movies they are because they all have the word episode in the title. But Star Wars is also so much more. There are TV shows too. Currently, there are 4 award-winning shows that also take place in the Star Wars universe. There are also dozens of books and hundreds of comics that all help supplement the material from the main movies. Some of the TV shows, books, and comics feature old characters, but many take us to new places and show us new characters. In the beginning of the Skywalker saga, during Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, the Galactic Republic is in full power. It's a planetary union that encompasses a majority of the systems in the galaxy. At the time of the film, it's been in vogue for more than 1,000 generations. But it doesn't last for too much longer. A few planets branch away from the Republic and form the Separatist Alliance. The Separatists are unknowingly manipulated by the evil Sith to undermine the Republic and turn it into the First Galactic Empire. By the time of Episode 4, A New Hope, everything that was right and just about the Republic and the noble Jedi have been overtaken by tyranny and the evil Empire.
The last remnants of the old Republic have been swept away.
Impossible. Which is exactly where the rebels come in. They're in the fight against the Empire to restore the Republic. They aren't out to rule the galaxy, but they will have a big say in how it'll be governed.
The Emperor's made a critical error, and the time for our attack has come.
30 years after the events of the original trilogy, the First Order rises in opposition of the New Republic, determined to reinstate the old Empire and subjugate the galaxy all over again. It goes to war with the little military of the peaceful New Republic and leads to an all-new rebel-style resistance. There are all different kinds of aliens and animals and species that inhabit the Star Wars galaxy. It's just one of the many interesting things to look out for in the different kinds of stories that come out. Of course, there are plenty of humans that live in the galaxy too. They don't share our history, but they do share all the same biological traits as we do, which probably made casting them a lot easier. Unlike a lot of sci-fi and fantasy movies, the aliens and humans get along for the most part in Star Wars. Humans are just another species amongst the thousands that inhabit the galaxy, even though that they may be in many positions of power. They've all been living together for thousands of years. For most of the galactic history, all of the species in the galaxy have had the same footing, but humans are by far the most populous, so many of the aliens may be seen as minorities. C-3PO and R2-D2 are some of the many robots, or droids, that make up lots of the galaxy's populace. There are several different kinds of droids in the universe, and they all do different things. C-3PO is a translator who is fluent in 3 million forms of communications.
Remember that I am fluent in over 6 million forms of
What are you telling them?
Oh, sorry, 3PO, it's 6 million forms of communication. He'd want you to know all of these species before you started watching Star Wars 2. Like Jawas, Sand People, Ewoks, and Gungans.
You saved my again.
What's this?
A local.
Of course, there are also many, many more.
Huh? More did you speak?
At some point in everybody's life, they've heard the phrase, or maybe even said,
May the Force be with you.
but what exactly is the Force? Well, it's a huge part of Star Wars, and it's the focal point of many of the stories. But what is it? It's an energy field created by all living things.
It surrounds us, it penetrates us, it binds the galaxy together.
Some beings dedicate their entire lives to the Force, while some don't even believe that it's real. The Force can do many things. With its power, you can sense danger, you can levitate, move objects with the power of your mind, and many other crazy things. Those who are extra powerful in the Force can become Force ghosts after they die, and continue to share their wisdom. The bad guys like to shoot lightning out of their fingers, choke people from across rooms, and read their foe's mind. The Force has both a light side and a dark side. The two sides often balance each other out, but sometimes that power is shifted. The light side of the Force focuses on wisdom, compassion, inner strength, and loyalty. The Jedi are the masters of the light side of the Force. By living a strict life without attachments and desire for power, they're able to perform incredible feats of strength and skill, and can even fool others with mind tricks. The dark side of the Force is driven by forbidden knowledge, passion, power, and tyranny. The power of the dark side allows users to access even more destructive powers than the light side of the Force, but at a much greater cost. The Sith are the most iconic wielders of the dark side, who are driven by powerful emotions like anger and fear. Consequently, they are left twisted and without friendships. Not just anyone can use the Force. Even though almost everyone can generate its effects and feel it. It can run in families, or you can just be naturally gifted with it. But in order to use it properly and with great effect, you have to be taught and trained. So what about that saying, "May the Force be with you"? Well, it's the Star Wars way of saying, so long and good luck. Okay, now you know how the Force works and who can wield it. But what about those cool swords? Jedi build their own weapons called lightsabers.
Father's lightsaber. This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight.
They all contain what's called a kyber crystal that has a connection with the Force. They have a hilt and a powerful blade that can cut through almost anything in the galaxy. You don't need to have the Force to use one, but boy does it help. To control your swings and movements against other users, it requires great skill. Lightsaber colors are determined by the kyber crystal inside the hilt. The Jedi's weapons are usually blue or green, or if you're really cool, purple.
This party's over.
The Sith have to corrupt their kyber crystals to show their devotion to the dark side. As a result, their blades have a deep crimson color. It's time. You are ready. It's time to start watching the movies. This is exciting. No one can say there is a right or wrong way to watch. However, there are a few orders that help you appreciate the full story, its twists and turns, and how it was designed to take place in the universe. The first way you can watch is the chronological order. It's pretty self-explanatory. Just follow the numbers 1 through 9. You can even throw in Solo and Rogue One after Episode 3 in that order to get more out of the story. This is a great way to watch if you get confused with time jumps, which there are plenty of in the story. The other great way to watch is the order of their release. Because George never thought that Star Wars would be such a huge hit, the movies came out in an adverse order. The release order goes the original trilogy first, Episode 4 A New Hope, Episode 5 The Empire Strikes Back, then Episode 6 Return of the Jedi. Then you watch the prequels, Episode 1 The Phantom Menace, Episode 2 Attack of the Clones, Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, and then the sequel trilogy, Episode 7 The Force Awakens, Episode 8 The Last Jedi, and then finally Episode 9 The Rise of Skywalker. This is the way the stories were shown to audiences the first time, so the twists and turns are in full effect. And that's it. That's the basics of the Star Wars universe. Feel free to come back to this video anytime to refresh yourself on the who's and what's of the galaxy. It's a wild, swashbuckling adventure from beginning to end, with hundreds of stories to discover and dozens of characters to fall in love with. May the Force be with you. For more beginner Star Wars information, check out Star Wars Made Easy by Christian Blauvelt. You can also stay right here on the Talking with My Hans channel for more Star Wars deep dives.